I'm actually very scared of ghosts. I'm always fascinated with the idea of ghosts, but I'm always too scared to watch them.
I always told him like this is not scary enough.
I have no idea.
It's actually. Oh! Any clues? Yeah! That's you?
There was an alien in the ghost movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to find out why that is. Yeah.
Because he said, oh, I dream about to be an alien.
Why can't the world have both ghosts and aliens?
Yeah, aliens can have ghosts.
Sure, yeah, that could be the sequel.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Taipei Tonight Show. I'm your host, Dennis Nia. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in to Taiwan Plus. We're a weekly show that's coming to you straight from Taiwan, Taipei. And we're recording in the very iconic building in Taipei, the Taipei 101 building. That's that building in the background you see right over there. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. And we're very lucky. We're very happy to be presenting to you some of the specialties right here from the island of Taiwan. Now, Taiwan is a very small island. It's got a population of only 23 million. But at one point, Taiwan was the highest producer in all sorts of media, from TV to movies to music. Everything was coming out of here. And on this tiny little island, there's over 100 television stations. So you can imagine things are getting cranked out left and right here. And what's interesting is a lot of the things, obviously the content has a language barrier. So most of the contents were spread around Asia. But a few of those genres seem to have the ability to transcend the language barrier. One of them being Kung Fu action, right? I was one of those kids that grew up in the States watching some of those dubbed over Kung Fu movies. A lot of them came from here. And the other thing, it seems to be able to transcend with the language barrier, which is horror movies. I guess ghosts have no language, and we all like a little bit of a scare from time to time. So today we are very lucky. We have two upcoming stars in the horror movie sector. A very new director and his makeup artist. They have just released an incredible film a couple of years back, and then they're making it out of a franchise into a series now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Leo and Zoe! I've known Leo for some time. I don't like to admit it, but I kind of watched him grow up a little bit here, okay? I've known him since he was quite young. But, man, you're a big-time director now.
Not big time, but trying.
That's
trying
pretty
my best.
incredible. You want to introduce your new friend to us?
Yeah, this is Zoe. This is like, she's probably one of the best special makeup artists in Taiwan. She's been working in the industry for a long time. We went to the same film school, actually.
Yeah,
a bit
we
different
went
times.
to Vancouver Film School.
Okay, well, so this is the first time you're coming on our show. Let's give everybody a little bit of background about you guys. Now, Leo, like I mentioned a little bit, you're a new director. How did you get started?
Well, my parents are both in the industry, kind of, right? So my dad is a producer. He produces tons of variety shows. My mom is a talent manager, so kind of grew up in this world, right? So, I mean, my dad conquered the variety world. My mom did the talent agency. Figure movies probably the last frontier I can possibly conquer, right? So I'm trying my best to do that, right? And yeah, pretty much it.
So I guess all of you can imagine why I'm interviewing Leo with a little bit of extra caution here. His dad produced a number of shows for me during my career here in Taiwan. And his mom is my manager. So I'm interviewing the boss's son, all right? That's who we have on our show today. But yeah, they're such lovely people. I mean, you guys are like family to me. All right, and okay, so obviously seeing them do that gave you some inspiration to eventually do something of your own.
Yeah, well, my dad hated it though.
Your dad hated it?
Hated it.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it is a really hard career to carve out, right? So
It's
very hard. And we had a big fight before I went to college. He basically it's ultimatum. Like you go to college for business school, which I got into, and don't do films. So my trade is I'll graduate, and then afterwards let me try for a few years.
You're kidding me? I never knew
Yeah.
this. I didn't know this part of the story. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
told
yeah.
him you wanted to study.
I told him I
arts.
wanted to be a director since high school,
Yeah.
and I was actually in the process of applying for a couple of film school as well at the same time, right? So, and I got into some, and I got into a really good school, UBC, and I actually wanted to go to another school for film. So my dad, in the end, convinced me to get a safer option, right?
Yeah.
So just in case if it all fails, hopefully that won't happen. So.
You know, that is the
Yeah.
thing, though, you know, because I'm coming into the age group where you know, my friends, kids, are at that point where they're about to turn into adults. I'm kind of getting old here, but it dawned on me one day, because from time to time I'll get a call. It's like, Dennis, you know, my son or my daughter, you're thinking about going into the entertainment industry, and can you have a talk with them? And I realized that most of the talks they want me to have with them is to tell them not to do it. It's not just pointing them in the right way. It's like they're worried about their kids because this is a tough gig.
If your son wants to be a director, I'll have a talk with him.
Go talk to
talk to him.
go talk to Uncle Leo, right?
Yeah. I'll tell him no, just FYI.
Yeah, right. So you know that's the interesting thing. But then I found myself being in a very difficult situation though, because it's done me all right. I've been doing this for a couple of decades now. It's done me all right. So it's really hard for me to discourage anybody younger to not try, because I mean we do need entertainment. We want to be entertained. So we have to look at the value of what we do, and so it's hard for me to discourage anybody. But again, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Right? And then you made your debut.
Yeah.
With the movie 地九分局. What is it? What is it?
It's
Is there
called The
English?
Ninth Precinct.
"欢迎光临第九分局。"
And that was your debut.
That was my debut.
That's a heck of a debut. You did very well at the box office.
It did okay. It
Congratulations.
did decent numbers, yeah. So I'm glad I can still continue. I don't have to fall back to my business plan, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us about that process. How did you why did you decide to head down that direction?
To be a director?
No, to do a horror film.
The funny thing is, someone pitched the idea to us, right? Me and
Okay.
my dad. And I don't do horror. I'm actually very scared of ghosts. And so is my producer. So both of us, we don't watch any. Well, we do. I watch all the ghost movies with my eyes closed. So
Okay.
Like one time we were
We watched
watching
It, right? Yeah.
together, and then I was keep laughing, like, oh my god, the clown is so cute, and he
Yeah.
was like, oh my god,
was
no,
disgusting.
you know? And I said, no, I want to take it home.
Oh.
yeah.
Okay. So you guys are actually on a different side of the spectrum.
Very
So
different.
you're actually scared of horror
Very.
films.
Very.
But you
yeah.
end up making your debut on a horror film.
Yeah.
And but this is something that you have always been interested in.
Yes,
Right.
and how I started to become a special makeup artist is because I saw a picture, a dead body picture on the magazine. And I saw it, I show my dad, I say, oh my God, Dad, look, it's so cool. Like, who did the dead body, you know? And I said the spot on the dead body, I said, so beautiful.
They're called moles, I think.
Yeah.
What?
Like the spot, you know, like different
And
colors.
how old were you when you did this?
I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I
And
was
were your
little,
parents concerned?
no, they are really like, oh, they see my eyes are shiny, and they're thinking like, well, they know that their daughter is not normal, you know, already.
What do you mean not normal?
Like not like a little princess or like flowers, but when I was little, I love bloody thing.
Okay.
So that's how I get into this industry because I saw the dead body on the magazine. So I decided to search where I can learn these special
Effects
skills.
or makeup.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got pitched the idea. Now tell us a little bit about the story. What is
So we were pitched of an idea where it was start with a man basically doing the police doing a traffic stop, right?
Okay.
And then it turned out to be a serial killer. So who shot the police, who's trying to inspect the car, just noticing like blood on the trail and stuff, right? So, but before the killer's about to finish a protagonist off, a ghost appeared in front of them and basically essentially saved the guy, saved the policeman. So, and then the next scene shows the policeman actually got introduced to like a secret department where in the police force that actually deals with like all paranormal activities. So that's the idea, right? So when we first got pitched, it was supposed to be like a thriller, like a detective noir kind of thing. So a lot of horror element. But when I took over, so we did a lot of research on. I kind of know a little bit. I'm always fascinated with the idea of ghosts, but I'm always too scared to watch them, as she can attest to.
Yeah.
When we
and-
watch it, we have a very. This is what I have to deal with.
And sometimes when we prepare the script and we spend many times talk about like how the ghost will look like, and actually I always told him like this is not scary enough.
Yeah,
and
we
I
have
will
a
give
very
him,
different idea of scary.
I will give him more ideas like to make it more scary. Yeah. This is all the ghost makeup that we create for the movie. He wanted to show the ghost is not that scary, but more in a cute side.